Welcome back. This is still, but then how do we go about building meaningful relationships or vesting ourselves in relationships that are meaningful?
Well, I mean, the concept of something being meaningful is the value proposition they bring on board. Right. So what...
Okay, now the business terms are coming
Exactly. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same human beings who run businesses.
Right.
So you come with a value proposition.
Absolutely.
If you don't have any value proposition, I don't see the essence of retaining you within my space, because apart from the trust that makes your heart feel safe and healthier, there is also the worthiness of what you're doing. What's the worth? What's the weight that it brings? Because it ought to be worth your while. It has to be meaningful.
Absolutely.
If it doesn't have that capacity to produce what is worthy, then you don't go close. And so there's so many invitations to all kinds of relationships and engagements that I won't spend my time on, because the value proposition is just not there. And every one of us must sit back and ask ourselves, what is the added value this individual brings into the space for friendship, for relationship, for marriage, for whatever? If they don't bring any, then you've got to be careful.
Absolutely. So let's delve into this a little more deeply.
Yeah.
So the relationship must be worth your time.
Yeah.
It must be worthy of your engagement, right? These days, we've sort of, in many parts of our society, many conversations around relationships, limited the worth of a relationship, especially when it comes to romantic relationships, to money and anything that has to do with some kind of currency. So I really want us to break it down. What does it mean when we say a relationship should be worth it? Because some relationships come with money, but they may not come with anything else that you need to bring value to you, the kind of value that you've spoken about.
I mean, for any relationship to be worth your while, or your time, or your space, or your friendship, or your relationship or marriage, one of the things you've got to look at are words.
Words.
See, words
I'm a woman of words, and I absolutely agree with you.
When they told me you were going to anchor the program, I was asking, can I speak the same English that she speaks all the time? It's important for relationships to be the kind that are meaningful. Words matter. So you should be around people who take their word seriously. Not those who say things and tell you, oh, I didn't mean it. Or they say any and everything that comes in their thoughts.
They don't even know how to filter.
They don't filter.
They
don't filter. They are not able to distinguish between when to say what and how to say what they're going to say. They just say it, and they say, well, I say it and let the chips fall where they may. They don't care a thing. Is a word going to break you? Is it going to build you? So words of affirmation, for instance, very crucial. So if a relationship is going to be meaningful, the parties in the relationship must remember that words matter.
Definitely.
The currency of words.
The currency of
words. It's a
words.
premium. That's the trade exchange we have. The second one is open book policy.
Open book policy.
Look, you cannot have any meaningful relationship where there's no open book. When the persons are shut, closed doors, and you can't see through them. They're not transparent.
My secrets,
very
my secrets
secret.
are yours. My life is my life.
Boy.
Your life is your life.
Yeah. It doesn't work that way. Because anybody who is in a relationship where the other party is overly secretive, there are things that are confidential, yes. We grant all that. Right. But being secretive is a different matter altogether. Yeah. Am I able to give you the space to be able to live your life? Or I'm scared giving you that leverage of an open space. If you're scared, you've got to check it again. The third one I will propose is responsible conduct.
Responsible conduct.
You see, you've got to carry yourself as one who has made a commitment to another. That's where they have meaning in what they do. If your conduct is irresponsible, for instance, anything that comes into your mind, you just splash it on social media. And then the person you love or trust or are in this warm relationship with raises an issue of a query about it. Are you willing to say to them that I want to take responsibility for my action? Or you would always blame another. You never take responsibility for anything. Somebody else did what you did and made you do what you did.
It's everyone's fault but yours.
Yeah, except yours. The other one is thoughtful gestures. You know, relationships are meaningful when you know that the other party has you in their thoughts. Little gestures. Because see, when it comes to relational health, it's not the huge leapfrogs, not the leaps that you make. It is actually the little drops. Because when it comes to the health of it, the small things are actually the big things. So there's a need for you to ask yourself, are you one who has these helpful thoughts, thoughtful gestures that you exchange from time to time? Or you are just being there and expecting everything to just fall on your lap? It doesn't work that way. There's a need for people to be thoughtful. It's very interesting. Sometimes the person calls you, oh, I was just thinking about you and you called.
The sweetest thing.
You know how it makes you feel,
Of course. The sweetest thing to hear.
Now, the other one is harmony of hearts.
Harmony of hearts.
Our hearts need to connect. There ought to be harmony. And you know, for harmony to work is the keyboards of the organ. The white and the black keys need to be able to harmoniously work together to give you a beautiful sound.
Ebony and ivory.
You know, one of my professors, he says, harmony is synchrony. So to be able to synchronize, there's the need for your hearts to be at peace. There ought to be that connection. It's the connection that creates the chemistry. You can't artificially fabricate it. It's got to be natural. And the last one is yearning to grow together.
Yearning to grow together.
No, meaningful relationships you don't want to let go.
Yearning.
You yearn to be together. You yearn to grow together. You yearn to go together because you have to surmount certain obstacle courses in this life. There are hurdles you've got to, scale over. There are walls you've got to jump over. All these things can come as roadblocks.
So you don't just want to be together.
No,
you yearn.
There's that longing in you. The person's company is something you look forward to. Their telephone call, you look forward to it. A note, you look forward to it. It's not one that you wipe out of your memory and you run on the theory out of sight, out of mind. You know that people, they have lovers. Once they get to the office, they are forgotten about them.
True.
Why should it be so? It's because there's no yearning to be together. There's no yearning to go together. And there's no yearning to grow together. So it's not just yearning. Can I go extra mile for this fellow? I'm willing to take, the sacrifice for them. I want to be in their company. I have missed them. I haven't seen them in a while, and thoughts of them run through you, and you want to call to check on them. But what about the situation where when you leave, out of sight, out of mind? Is that relationship meaningful?
It's not.
It
doesn't sound like it.
No. And some will only remember you when they need something from you. That is not yearning to be together. So the value proposition they bring to you must be one that when you look at it, words that they speak, you take it serious. You don't take it with a pinch of salt. They have an open book policy. The policy is that I'm open. I'm willing to be held accountable. I show that I'm responsible. I have a responsibility to make this work. I have a duty. I'm duty bound. Once I say I love you, once I say I care for you, once I say I've married you, they also must show that in thoughtful gestures. A little brooch they bring to you, cookies that they buy. They travel to Takoradi on their way. They bought you fancy kinky. Those are thoughtful gestures. It's not a huge gargantuan project that he's going to pursue, but the little things, because those then build. Then is your heart at rest? Is your heart at peace? Are you connected at heart level? Because that's where it's deepest. That's where our vulnerability shows. I know people who are in so-called relationships that cannot be vulnerable towards one another because everybody is in some kind of a panic mode. That doesn't help. And lastly, yearn to be together yearn to go together, and yearn to grow together.
Beautiful acronym. So we had, when it comes to building the healthier, fostering the healthier relationship, trust, and then building or fashioning out the meaningful relationships, worthy.
So it's actually trustworthy.
Trustworthy. I mean, beautiful.
It has to be trustworthy. Whether the person or the project you're pursuing, there ought to be trustworthiness.
Beautiful.
The absence of it, no health, no meaningfulness.
Now I have a question for
Yes,
you, Amos.
please.
I mean, we don't have much time left,
Yeah.
but maybe we can delve more deeply into this later. But
Yes.
you know, in very few words, what about the people? Like I said earlier, you've got siblings, you've got other family members who may not be worthy of your trust or who are not trustworthy when you put it all together. But you can't do away with them because they're your blood. You know, how do you manage people like that?
Now, so it means that those are necessary relationships you can't do much about. Your dad, your mom, anybody within your close family setting, or even a work colleague, you can't do much about unless you change roles or change jobs. And so what you do is that those people you step a little further, take a step backwards, and do acts of generosity towards them, because you generously extend that space for them, being mindful of the risk you're taking. So it means that you've got to do cost-benefit analysis of whatever you're doing, or do a SWOT analysis to ask yourself, what are the dangers that will come my way of making this choice? Because choices come with consequences.
So basically, whatever you give, however you engage these people, these necessary relationships,
yeah.
however you engage them, you're also mindful of the fact that this is a risk, but I have to do it.
You have to do it.
But then I will do it to point D instead of point Z,
So
because I can measure my risk. I can measure the effect on my emotions.
And once you're ready to say, I can pay the price, go for it. But if you are not sure you can go the full throttle, then pace the trust. Pace the worthiness. Because definitely you are creating space into your life. And some can handle the space, others can handle the space. And we hope that people who are taking such measured risk will do so knowing that others also will be taking same measured risk towards them. So do to others as you wish others are done to you.
Do unto you. Amos Kevin-Annan, thank you. It's always a joy to have conversations with you, to listen to the way you string all these acronyms together and simplify seemingly complex conversations. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Any day.